Is Beverly out there?
I saw her sign in. Are you there, Bev?
Yes, I am.
Yep, thank you. I didn't see you. Okay, I have 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. 7:00. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number C, roll call. Christie.
I'm sorry. I have some audio weirdness going on here. So give me just 1 second.
Okay. Beverly. Beverly.
I'm present, attending from Columbia Township, Van Buren County, Michigan.
Gary.
I'm logged in at a remote location, Columbia Township, Van Buren County.
Rhonda.
I'm logged in from location in Columbia Township.
I'm Ken Speicher. I'm present at the Township Hall. Christie.
Okay, I think I'm just going to use this other system for my controls. Let me make sure I can hear you guys. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm on a different setup because I'm remote. So this is Christie. I'm attending remotely from the city of Mount Pleasant in Isabella County, Michigan.
Okay, I've already taken the others roll call, Christie, so they're all other presents.
Okay.
And so we have a full township board. The next step is item number D. It's the agenda, approval of the agenda. We do have agendas before us. It's online. Anyone can look at it. Is there any additions or subtractions that the board would like to make to the agenda? Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Gary moves to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is that Rhonda?
It's Bev.
Well, good guess, huh? Okay, Bev.
Close
second.
enough.
So I got a first and second roll call vote. Christie?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Beverly? Beverly?
Yes.
And Ken, yes. Item number E is public comment on the agenda items. What we do is we hold 2 public comments during our meeting. This one allows the public to comment on any of the reports provided by the board, unfinished business and new business. We'd like to wait for the other public comments not being addressed during the meeting until the public comment period near the end of the meeting. If you don't want to stay for the whole meeting and have to make a comment and not want to stick around, I guess we would take a comment for that area. So do we have any public comments on the agenda items at this time?
Just Ken, I see Karen's hand up, but when we're all done taking The physical comments, I have an email comment to provide. Do you want to go ahead and recognize Karen?
Ken, is that okay?
I can't understand what you said, Christy. What was it?
I'm sorry. I have, after everybody's done speaking, I have an email comment to provide, but Karen has her hand up. So I was asking if you wanted to recognize her.
If you don't have any other comments at this point, why don't you go ahead with the email comment?
No, Karen's got her hand up for comment.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay then, Ken?
Yep.
Okay. And I had sent this ahead in case I didn't have a good connection tonight. In the previous meeting minutes, there was discussion about that free dump weekend, and I'm just throwing out that the board may wish to consider having another free dump weekend that is better communicated. The reminder ad didn't appear until the June 6th edition, and it did stress residents only and must bring proof of residence, which brought me to another question. That aren't all property owners entitled to the service, even if they're just part-time? I noticed that Van Buren Conservation District, when they offer something similar, they suggest either ID as proof of residency or a tax bill to be shown as eligible for that free service. And the message board at the Township Hall used to be used to announce events like this too, so maybe there'd be better turnout next time. On a different topic, the Capital Improvement Plan CIP survey. I think we all agree that taxation without representation is unfair. I hope we also agree then that taxpayers are the target audience of the CIP survey, regardless of whether or not they reside here all year. In determining the method of solicitation, you must first agree if the goal of the survey is to get the largest cross-section of responses or just check a box to get it done. More than twice as many responses were received in 2017 to a survey mailed with tax bills than the 2018 survey that was an invitation by postcard. Unfortunately, it was also obvious that some people returned multiple responses, which skewed the results. If cost is an issue, I submit that this survey may be more valuable to mail with summer tax statements than the newsletter if forced to make a choice, since most of that information is on the website. Personally, I'm also in favor of offering an online option and promoting survey in the reminder in an effort to reach as many stakeholders as possible. Although not a total cure for managing integrity, making it mandatory to note local address is a reasonable way to at least discourage duplications from overzealous respondents. The survey topics are not private or controversial or nearly as probing as a typical census. Thoughtful responders may even opt to include their name to enable follow-up conversation. The presented survey in the packet may still need a little streamlining, but effective communication requires time and effort, and I still believe anything worth doing is worth doing well. Thank you for your time.
Okay. I don't see any other hands up, so so I have a comment from Marcia Lukens. She says, hi, I feel that the sound ordinance is too difficult to enforce. Therefore, I feel spending money on detection equipment is not a good way to use money. I feel the money would be better spent on blight control, maybe to pay for cleanup. Thank you, Marcia Lukens. I do have another one, but it is not related to the agenda, so we can put it on the end of the meeting. That's all I have right now. Were you guys able to hear me, just to make sure?
I can.
Okay, great. I think that's all we have, Ken. And you're muted in case you forgot.
I think there might be a problem with something at the hall, because when Ken couldn't hear you clearly, I could hear you clearly.
Well,
How about now?
now we can.
Sounds great.
Sounds great. We ready to move on to consent agenda?
I believe so.
Okay, let's go to item line F, consent agenda. We're looking at the minutes from previous meetings, expenditures, and the treasurer's report. And the bank balances. Do we have any discussion on the consent agenda? Any additions or? I guess, no, we're approving our consent agenda. We don't have any additions. Anything that we need to remove from that to talk about, or are we all set to go?
Do you want me to read my treasurer report?
This is the consent agenda, Rhonda. This is just the bank balances.
Oh, okay, okay.
Would you like a motion to?
Yeah, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented or with additions or subtractions? I don't see any additions or subtractions, so as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve as presented. This is Bev.
That's Bev,
I'll second it. This is Rhonda.
Rhonda. Roll call vote. Casey,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
and Ken. Yes. We have the informational reports. Is there anyone that has turned in a report that would like to make a comment on the report or an addition to the report? We have time to do that now.
Ken, I haven't turned in a report, but I don't know if this would be for public comment later. I have some information that I think would be helpful to the community from AARP. There is, you can text the word internet to the number 22777 and get information on getting a discount of up to $50 a month and possibly $100 to buy a computer or a tablet. And that's internet assistance for people who, well, it's from AARP, so I'm not sure what the qualifications are. It's a temporary benefit because of the pandemic.
What was that number again, Bev?
It's 22777. There's also a phone number they can call, which is 833-511-0311. And they could also go to the aarp.org website.
So do you have to be a member, right?
No, you don't have to be a member for that.
Oh, okay,
It's for any older Americans.
okay.
I'm a member, so I get the magazine and it's useful sometimes. That's all.
I saw that Kurt was here, and I know every now and then we kind of skim over things, but I just wanted to make sure. Kurt, was there anything that you wanted to add to your report today?
No, not really. The only thing is just to make sure that they need to get some flyers out to the hall where you can put them up. Once again, with the veterans, the rides that we have on Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are free to all veterans. There's a phone number that's just for the veterans to call. And Ken, you haven't gotten one of those flyers yet, have you?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I will make sure that I get some out there this week sometime, and I'll come when the office is open and drop them off.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, and the only other thing, I hope you got the little tidbit there about we unfortunately had to not allow our golden retriever in the courthouse anymore because after so much time off with COVID, she kind of lost her way. And if you read the report, it was kind of funny that the judge said that it's not proper for her to be growling at defendants. So, well, exactly. Now I got a golden retriever, and she's a pretty good judge of character. So
That's
maybe
right.
we could, yeah. So
Excellent dogs.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did read it and I thought, well, that was sad. Get her.
right. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, you can always call me or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I think we're ready to move on to line item H, unfinished business, sales of township owned land.
Just one second. I think Rhonda had a report she wanted to provide also.
Yeah, I didn't get it in on time. It is getting busy in the treasurer's office this month. The new credit card system will be implemented hopefully in July through all paid. The training for the system will be Friday, and then the swipe machine is on its way to the office now. And we will have a link for our website for residents that want to utilize it. The summer tax bills get mailed on July 1st. Now permits and tax bills can be paid with debit and credit cards. This is a big change for our township and should be a good one because we are giving our property owners just one more way to pay their taxes and permits. Christy had Ruth, our secretary, have a company come out to service our fire extinguishers, and then we found out that they were too outdated. And the guy from the fire extinguisher company suggested we get new ones because to service them would cost just as much as replacing them. So I told him just to go ahead and replace them. Now we have all new fire extinguishers, but would suggest putting a case over the one by the front entrance door for safety reasons, as far as children pulling on the hose or the clip. The warm weather is upon us, and if you know of any elder residents in our township, neighbors or relatives, could you please check on them and make sure they are okay? It is better to know they are okay and do not need anything than to find them in a crisis. It is the neighborly thing to do. Well, I'm trying to keep this short, so stay cool.
Do we have any more report type stuff?
I guess I would
Christie,
just like
anyone?
to add, Ken, that
Yep.
tomorrow night we're having a special meeting of the planning commission. And it's to approve a special land use for the communication tower. And that's tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Yeah, that tower is located at Station 2 Fire Station.
Yes.
It's going to improve our communication for emergency services.
Yep.
Anyone else for the information and report section?
The only small report that I have, oral report, was from last minute meeting minutes. I was going to check into the 8 acres on 388 that's designated for a mobile home park and possibly a logging situation where maybe some money could be recuperated. And I did contact two forest products people. I talked personally and met with Tom McClure at Glendale Forest Products. And because of the different variables involved with the property at this point in time, he said he'd be happy to walk through and take a look at things, but didn't know if it was what he considered good wood or bad wood as far as forest products are concerned. And didn't know if that was going to be developed into a park as designated or not in the near future, but thought a couple of different things, either that could be logged for the owner to recoup some of their cost for it, and maybe would be a better relationship with whoever develops it to wait and let them decide what they're going to do with it, which may or may not impact infrastructure arrangements and or even pay driveways and that sort of thing. So at this point in time, I think we just maybe better wait for a final disposition on the property before anything else is done. I know typically the surveys are done for property owners that are selling it. That could be another negotiable aspect of it as far as the sale of the property. So just for information purposes, because of the amount of variables that existed at this point in time, I didn't pursue any other avenues for any possible logging.
Thank you, Gary. Any more information and report comments? Okay, we're going to move to unfinished business. Sale of township owned land. Christie has generated an online sale process for selling township properties. And I guess I'm going to turn it over to her to pull it up on the, she's got it on the screen, to explain it.
Yes, so one of the things that we've been working on, Ken has pulled together a list of property that realistically could go towards a bidding process. And to make that an easier all-around process for everyone, including tracking, access, immediate understanding, instead of a sealed bid, they can actually continue to bid back and forth through the time limit. So basically they would come here and the first thing they would do is click on the registration link. On the registration link, they have to provide their email address, the legal name that would be used for the deed, their legal mailing address, which also will be used for the deed. While a phone number is not required, it's helpful in case we need to contact them, so they provide that. After they complete this registration process, I'll get a notification. I'll assign them a bidder number. That'll be kept track of on a spreadsheet. Once they have that, then they can come down to one of these properties, select a property, and then there's some information about the property at the top, including the link to the county's mapping system, so that they can type in those parcel numbers and see what the parcel looks like. Now, none of these numbers that are set on here, like the starting bid requirement, are set in stone. This was just so you guys see what it would look like, or the dates. So we'll have how long the bids will be open, what the starting bid is. There's a link here that they'll be able to go to see what the most recent bid was. And there's no bids right now, which is why it's not working. So yeah, so that's why it's not working right now, because there aren't any bids. And then once they see that, back here. Oh, I'm sorry, that one was the wrong one. That's why. Let me try that again. There we go. So they'll see the spreadsheet. They'll say the time stamp, the bidder number, so we're not sharing names, and the bid amount. And then they can go back to the spreadsheet. My screen is being funky.
Christy, is that automatically entered? Or because it's a spreadsheet, does someone have to generate that information into the spreadsheet, or?
This form enters the information in the spreadsheet. So here, I'll show you.
Oh, okay.
So let's say my bidder number is 1.
Yeah.
And I want to do the minimum bid. So when I click submit, it automatically updates that spreadsheet, and you can see when the timestamp for it, my bidder number, and the amount of my bid.
Love it. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, and then they can submit additional responses. And so that's how it's going to work. There are going to be, trying to get my Come on, go away so I can click on my other tab. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, we have some on here now. These are all parcels that have been identified as parcels that could be combined and sold together. At the very bottom here, there's not anything there yet, but there will be additional pages that if it's a adjacent only property owner. So let's say we have a property that there are 2 property owners that we'd be willing to sell it to, but we want them to bid on it. Then there would be links down here for this, but they would have a password to access those because they're the only ones that are allowed to bid on them.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
A little bit of discussion on this. We'd like to put this into the works with some of the properties that we have. And what we're doing right now is we're introducing this to you. So take a look at it over the next 30 days. And I think we're going to unfinish business status next week to be able to go ahead and start bidding for properties and put what we have available right now out there and then give them like 30 days for being on the market. Does that sound reasonable to everybody? Any other discussion on it?
The only thing I'm wondering about, Ken, is so they're buildable lots as far as size goes. Are they suitable for building on? Do we know that? Well, you know the area.
I know. Yes, I know that they're buildable lots, in my opinion. But really, the risk is on the person that's bidding on them to go out and look at them. And all our paperwork tells them that. All the stuff that we tell them that they need to do is go look at it, make sure that what they're bidding on is what they want, et cetera, et cetera. That don't do this blindly.
Yeah, and I see what that there are still fresh ads up on Craigslist, and they're selling some of those small lots for and they've got that yellow auction sign up, and they're selling them for $7,500, but they're offering them on contract, and they're advertising them as camping lots.
Well, if you know somebody incredibly is doing that, let me know. I have been contacting them and warning them about our township ordinance and giving them copies of the pages that apply to the camping. And,
you know what, Ken, I will send you, I'll forward you those, I'll email you those ads every time I see them, because they're pretty steady.
I have no problem sending a response to them that I'm the supervisor of the township and here's our rules and regulations for camping.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
So, and then I kind of give them a little warning about misrepresenting that people can camp.
Yeah.
But yes, do that. Everyone good with next month that we make a decision on the lots that we're selling and the minimum bid, and then get them out shortly after that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Just that we're going to have we'll take a month to think about what we're doing, and then we'll look at it again next month in the hopes that we can go forward with it and put it in progress.
No, I do have a question. On here it says combined. Are they already combined?
Well, we're selling them as combined, but I can only sell the deed as how the deed is in the already made out. So if the county gives me 2 of the deeds, or if we got 3 deeds, I got to issue 3 deeds.
Okay.
I thought Ann was able to combine the lots, though. That's what I had understood from Jerry before. Was I misinformed?
Well, we could combine them. I mean, it's possible to combine them, but I think I have to have the old deeds to show what deeds I'm doing so the county can pull them. And I guess Ann could give those to me.
Yeah, I'd feel better if they were combined before they were sold.
Oh, yeah, as long as you understand there's still a single lot in the subdivision and
Yeah, to be combined into one lot instead of like,
yeah, but they can split them anytime they want because the subdivision lot can be split out at any time,
even into an unbuildable lot.
even into an unbuildable lot. Be stupid to do it, but they can
Is
do
that
it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That must be some kind of old law on the books that,
It's the way the plat is made out.
okay. Huh.
A lot in the plat is a lot in the plat. You can sell half a lot 13, north half of lot 13. Or the south half of lot 13, or a quarter, or a tenth.
Ken, wouldn't that fall, if it was combined before the sale, wouldn't that fall into the time frame of you can't divide property within, I think, a certain amount of time in that time frame?
I think if we went ahead and made we might be able to do a resolution that you can't split a lot to less than a buildable lot, but I'm not sure about that. I have to talk to the attorney about that.
Can
Okay,
we
just-
find out about that?
I'll look into that. That's a good question. I'll look into that. I'll talk to the attorney about it. I got a conversation with him tomorrow anyways. Anything else? We all good?
I don't have anything else. Anyone else?
Okay, I'm going to move on to new business, tax inserts. What we like to do is create a newsletter, and what we like to do is allow the township clerk and or treasurer to be able to do that when they deem it necessary. In other words, we have always put a newsletter into our tax bills for the December one. And I don't think it's ever gone to the township board for approval. It's been always generated by the clerk or the township treasurer, basically to kind of give them information on taxes and what's going on in the township report and stuff. So I guess what we need to do is discuss if we'd like to do that, and then vote any way that we go with it. So do I have any discussion?
Well, most of this,
Oh, go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
most of this information is on the website as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, my only reservation on actually having a resolution to that effect or a predetermined situation is that I think that when they send them out in the tax notices, granted it's only twice a year. However, if you send it out other than that, there's a cost factor for mailings, which is neither here nor there, actually, if it's got to be done. But it'd be less costly if we did it just under two tax seasons. Not to mention that if something came up where the taxpayers and the residents of the township needed to know, that we couldn't do that as well. But that's just a comment, that's all.
The proposed motion is so that we would be able to do this only for tax bills, only to be inserted into tax bills.
Oh, okay, okay. I misunderstood, and I thought it was something that was going to be done like.
No, it's just the summer tax bill or the winter tax bill.
Okay, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, and we plan on putting a survey in the summer tax bill that's about ready to come out for the planning commission after we make some adjustments to it.
So can we wait to send a newsletter for the winter tax bill since we're doing the survey for the summer?
I think that'd be a good idea, because if you get too much literature in there, people tend to be just pitching things and say, I'll do it later, or whatever the case may be, because some people even pay their taxes late. So I think it'd be best to include that in there, but also I think as far as the amount of information getting back, you're probably going to get more back if you made a separate mailing for the survey to each property holder.
Bev, do you want to, this is kind of like taking two items on this agenda at one time, but did you want to weigh in at all on the survey part of the mailing?
Well, I guess I thought I was on the newsletter, but the survey part of the mailing. So I was hoping that we could include it in the tax bill, because I feel like getting a written survey back is important. Ideally, I would have liked to have what Gary's suggestion was. I would have liked to have sent it out separately, but we're trying to save money here. And I feel like is the newsletter double-sided?
The newsletter is double-sided, and you'll see that there's that little yellow bordered section which needs to be moved up and have some information placed in it. But that was what the Planning Commission had directed to do, so that they could be collected online as well as.
Yes. And the survey was also supposed to be double-sided, so that would be 3 pages. And I don't know, I don't know what you guys, I don't feel like that's a whole lot of information, because I get inserts from Kalamazoo Township, but I don't know. And
the other thing I want to point out is that, yes, some of the things, and probably good half of this is on the website, but commodities, I'm trying to remember, I don't think that we really have that on the website anywhere. This Van Buren Conservation District section is not on the website. We keep talking about how we need people on commissions and boards, so I thought it was important to mention that. I don't think that people really understand the services that are available at the hall. So I don't know.
I personally, I like the newsletter idea. And I like that we're doing this. It's a good idea. I would just, the only thing I would say is if going forward, you could share it ahead of time to get like proofreading, and then I would prefer my home phone number on there instead of the hall, or in addition to the hall.
Well, and that's why it's on tonight, so that you guys can give that kind of information.
Oh, okay. Well, but I guess I'm confused about what the question is here.
Well,
I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, and I think right now we need to focus back on about allowing the township clerk and the treasurer to create the newsletter for the installation of the tax bill. And as that, they need to take a look at the survey and put the survey in there instead of a big newsletter. Surveys are very important, and I think the survey is going to be in our tax bill. And I think the newsletter is probably going to be a short blurb, if anything. But that's really belongs to the clerk and treasurer to generate what they feel is going to benefit the township the best for their newsletter. And that survey is very important.
My personal opinion would be to put the newsletter in with the tax bill and send the separate mailing with the survey to the property owners, and have, I suppose this is going to be online as well. The survey is that, and if that's the case, there should be a required field designated on the survey with homeowner's address in order to complete the survey and have it sent via the website, just like Christie has on the property sale with the designated areas, required fields that need to be sent in.
well, we can't, it's really impossible to require something on something written. I mean, you can say it's required, but if they return it and it's not filled out, there's nothing you can do about it. I can certainly do that on the website when I create the electronic version. Rhonda, what was the estimate for postage for the tax bills?
It was a little over $1,100.
So if we send that out with a return address stamped envelope, then we're looking at $2,200 just in postage, not including envelopes and paper and printing.
Do you send a return address stamped envelope for the taxes? You don't,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes,
Oh, you do?
yes.
Oh,
But the
Not stamped.
The Planning Commission also has mentioned that they want the survey back prior to the tax due date. So that's another issue involved here, that we won't be able to accept them after a certain point in order to keep on their timeline for their CIP production.
That's another reason I think they should be sent out separately, simply because some people don't pay their taxes until late, and some other people will just frankly pitch them. And past experience that was done on the different surveys, we got double the amount back if we mailed them directly to the homeowner than having them put in with the tax statements.
How many, you know what, maybe we should talk about that when we get to the CIP, because I'm really curious about these numbers and where they came from. But do we or do we not want a newsletter?
so should we, because these are separate on the agenda, should we go back to the newsletter?
Yeah.
Are we ready to go back to allowing the clerk and the treasurer to create a newsletter for insertion into the tax bill? Can I get a motion to allow them to create a newsletter for the insertion of the tax bills?
This is Gary. I'll support that.
Can I get a second?
Yes, I'll second. This is Bev. Can I add to that? I think we should do it twice a year with both tax bills. I think it's a very good thing to do.
Yeah, just to clarify, the motion is to allow the township clerk and or township treasurer to create a newsletter for insertion into the tax bills when deemed necessary. Is that correct?
That means they can do summer and winter as they deem necessary, and most of the time it's going to be necessary.
Yeah, I would like to see us do it on a regular basis because it did get dropped off before, and I thank you for doing this. I like it.
I got a first and a second. Roll call. Christie?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
And Ken, yes. Shallow wells for the cemetery. That's the Breedsville Cemetery and the transfer station. I went through and provided a material cost. I looked at both Menards and Lowe's, and the best thing to do is take some of the stuff from Menards and some of the stuff from Lowe's because there's a big savings in that. We can rent a vibrator for $90, which will pound it in about 4 hours, about 25 feet. And both of them need water. That's just for the materials, and I will get some people from the community to help drive it and get things fixed out there. So basically, we're looking at just buying the material. Is there any discussion on that?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. One is, and I guess I need education on this. I don't visit the local cemetery. I don't have a reason to. I have walked it before. Why do we need water there?
To water the flowers and the plants that people plant for Memorial Day and throughout the summer.
We do that. We provide that service because at other cemeteries, they don't do that. Well, actually, at other cemeteries, you're not allowed to actually plant things because
yeah, we do that. They use a lot of water. And there are a lot of phone calls about not having water at the Breedsville one. Someone called us about the water being turned on at the Township one here that it was just running. They put a big well in at the Township. They drove
Yeah.
that one real deep.
And they use it for cleaning headstones. I'm sure there are other reasons. That's honestly, my brain's a little slow after the last couple of days of conference. So I'm struggling right now to think, but I know they use it for cleaning headstones and for vases and things for plants. No, they're not actually allowed to plant permanent things, but they may have vases or other things that need water in them.
okay. And I just, yeah, I guess I assumed that people brought those things with them. I've not seen a cemetery before where they provided the water. However, if that's something we do, now I know.
I go with my mother every year to Arlington Township Cemetery, and they have water spigots all through the cemetery.
Okay.
And we go there with a bucket and we get water and we wash the headstone. We normally wash a couple other ones while we're there, and then my
Okay.
mother plants flowers and we water them, and then we keep them watered throughout the summer.
Okay, and my next question would be, and I think it's wonderful that you are getting community members to work with you, and I appreciate all the above and beyond and extra that you're doing, Ken, with these projects. I just want to make sure that we've got something in place because it looks like we're going to be doing more of these community volunteer based kind of projects. I just want to make sure that we're protected in case something should ever, God forbid, go wrong. And I would be wrong if I didn't bring the subject up. As far as like a liability, something for liability, either if we could get maybe an umbrella policy that would cover things like this, or a waiver. I'm not sure what the board thinks about this.
I think that probably a waiver would suffice. And as far as our liability issues, I know we have liability insurance, but I don't know if it would cover volunteer work or not. So that's a good point you brought up, Beverly. So I would at least like someone to look into. I think we do have a waiver though that people sign. Hasn't that happened in the past, Ken?
The Van Buren County Sheriff work crew is coming out tomorrow to cut brush, and we're going to take out that fence between the cemetery and the township that is growing inside the trees. And I'm going to bring my tractor down here. We're going to pull out all the stumps. They're covered through the sheriff's department. They got rules on what these guys can and cannot do, and they're covered that way. For other people that volunteer with us, if somebody gets hurt, I mean, we have insurance that covers us. I mean, I'm sure we got a deductible, but we have to work safely, and I'm out there, I'm with them, and I'm not going to let them do anything stupid. Accidents do happen, but we're going to avoid them as much as possible. I like
I
Zero
understand.
accidents is my motto.
That's
I-
why
I
they
under-
call them accidents, because no one does them on purpose.
That's right. I go for zero.
Well, I think though, don't we have an existing waiver form that people sign?
We do have one. I don't even know
Yeah.
if that's adequate for something like this.
When someone's volunteering through probably a community, having to do community service ordered by the court, I'm not sure what that falls into, but cleaning up the roadsides is pretty accidental, and you have community people out doing that for the court order type stuff. So
Yeah, I'm specifically talking about not court ordered, not people that are covered under the court, just regular volunteers from the community.
well, we have a waiver thing for volunteers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
I believe that's all you'd need, just to have those people sign it, because the work
Yeah.
crews, the work crew's already got a problem
Yes.
because they're in a work crew.
It is titled a volunteer release and waiver of liability.
Sure. Okay.
That's exactly what it is, and I have it right in front of me right now.
Yep. That's all we need then. Thanks, Christie.
Okay, I'm good then. That,
Ken, just a quick question about the Breedsville Cemetery. Is my thinking right, or am I not under the right impression here that we're only supposed to take care of, I think it's the west side of it? There's two different sides of that cemetery, east and west, and isn't Breedsville required to take care of the other one?
No. Not that I'm aware of. My understanding is that
Not that I'm aware of either.
I thought the entire cemetery was in the township.
The entire cemetery is in Columbia Township.
Am I mistaking my thinking with maybe the flagpoles that are there?
the flagpoles is correct. And actually, that's something I'd love to talk to you about, Gary, because I was hoping you would take on another flagpole project. And maybe we could talk about that some other time. But yes, that is correct. The west flagpole is maintained by a citizen of the village of Breedsville, and the east one is owned and maintained by the township. Now, how the west one was put up, I don't know. But it does not appear as though that one was ever, that one was owned by necessarily. I hesitate to use that term because it's a cemetery, so there are some legalities around that, but the east one is the one that is maintained by the township.
Okay, we can talk about that.
So the Breedsville line happens before the cemetery. It's just called Breedsville Cemetery from the old days, right? When this
Yeah.
whole area was called Breedsville, because my address used to be Breedsville.
All I know is that in the documentation I have, that is the title of the cemetery, is Breedsville.
Yeah. And so I just recalled one flagpole. I didn't realize there were two out there.
Yes, the one that the citizen maintains, my understanding is he only puts a flag up for certain times of the year. But ours, I have some concerns about our flag etiquette. So Gary and I can chat about that later.
Okay, fine. Back to the shallow well question here on number I2. Is there any other discussion, Ken, that you need on this for picking up the material?
What I'm ready for is to ask for a motion. What I'm going to do is separate it into two motions in case somebody, to make sure that if you're going to vote for one or none or both of them, that you have an opportunity to separate them instead of having one motion. So I'm looking to have a motion to purchase materials to install a new shallow well pump and tank and accessories for Breezeville Cemetery, not to exceed $1,000. Do I have a motion?
Why do we need
Can
it?
you restate? I need you to restate that. I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for that. Go ahead and restate that for me.
Well, I'm asking, can I have a motion to purchase materials to install a new shallow well, pump, tank, and accessories for Breezeville Cemetery, not to exceed $1,000?
Is that the one that the tank and the pump may be serviceable?
Talking to Gasper, the pump is underneath the building, and the pump is not operating at full capacity according to the well man that he brought in. So the pump shot.
All right, I'm going to read that back to you because I want to make sure that I have it correct. I move to purchase materials to install a new shallow well.
Well, after the meeting, I can email it to you, Christy.
Was it correct? Wrong.
Would it be all right if I email it to you after the meeting? Have we lost Christy?
No, can you not hear me?
Oh, I can now.
Okay, that's fine. You can email it to me.
Okay. There's going to be two motions. One's going to be for Breezeville. The other one's going to be for the transfer station, but it's a motion to purchase material to install a new shallow well, pump, tank, and accessories for Breezeville Cemetery, not to exceed $1,000. Can I get a motion in that manner?
I'll make that motion. This is
Is that Beverly?
Yes.
I'll
Do I get a
second
second?
I'll get a
Gary?
second. Yep.
Roll call vote. Christy?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
And Ken, yes. The second motion is a motion to purchase material to install a new shallow well, pump and tank, and accessories for transfer station, not to exceed $1,000. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Beverly,
Yes.
second.
Gary,
Roll call vote. Christy,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gary,
yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
and Ken, yes. Line item I3. MTA online learning subscription. We last year had the subscription that covered all of us for pretty much everything. And we need to discuss what we want to do this year. I think the package prices are up on the screen right now by Christy. Do we have any discussion of what we'd like to do?
Do we have, is what our pass was, what they're showing here is the premium pass? Is that what we typically did in the years prior?
Correct.
Well, this is only the second year that they have it, but yes, last year we did the premium pass at 1,900. Yes.
That's what I was remembering, because we were able to actually save money to take some online courses and work webinars and that sort of thing.
Yes, it includes the free access to the monthly, live webinars and 20% discounts on other virtual programming and in-person programming.
And now you know.
Yes.
I guess my only other question on this is there's an optional legal defense fund contribution of $55.92. Was that included in that? And does that give us the ability to check with MTA regarding specific issues as far as legality?
We already have that ability, Gary.
Yes.
I
Even
know that.
without the contribution. I don't believe we paid the contribution last year. And it does not, that contribution does not provide us any additional services.
Okay, okay, I didn't think so. Okay.
And that would be like a donation, and I'm not so sure we should go there anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we're receiving services from the organization, so it's kind of a gray area, but yeah, I agree with you.
Well, we're paying for them with our membership.
Exactly.
So then if my math is correct here, if we do the premium pass along with the dues of the 1863, it comes to roughly $3,663 without the optional legal defense contribution.
3,763.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this covers the planning commission, the ZBA,
Yes.
Board of Appeals.
Yes.
Board.
All of our employees, our board members, our planning commission members, board of review, everyone. Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, Dave took advantage of this last year as well. So he actually used that. We got a little bit of a discount on him going to some live.
I don't think
trainings.
for all the
So,
factual, and the information, and it's good information. I think it's a good thing to have available to everyone so that they've got a place to go where they can find out the facts and to learn more about their positions, all the things that MTA offers. I think I wish it cost less, but I think for the amount of people that you're covering, it's not bad.
yeah, I agree with that. My only ask is if we continue with the same plan we paid for last year, is I would really like our representatives from the board to the various like the commission and the board of review to really plug this every meeting, make a comment about it so that they remember that they have this training available to them.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, and I'll be asking, I'll look at some more stuff for fire department. There's not as much for fire department and emergency services, but I'll work with Dave to make sure that we're, promoting it there too.
But even though there's not as much for them specifically, I think it's just good for everyone to have access to the knowledge of how government works. That it's a good thing.
Yes.
Well, what I think we need to have enough classes that we cover $1,900. In other words, that we're actually using it to cover the cost of the premium pass. So we need to commit to taking enough classes to cover the cost so that we're getting the training that we need. And plus our employees have the opportunity, and maybe we have to indict and get them more in tune to being able to get onto this and take some classes that will help them too. I'd hate to spend $1,900 and we only spend $500 in classes that we actually take.
And this also includes the annual conference.
It includes a 20%
Oh,
discount.
okay. I need to do something different with my screen here.
Trustee, say that again because you broke up.
It also, according to the
Includes a
information,
20% discount off of the. Okay,
Okay.
sorry. It's telling me my internet was unstable for a second.
But if you put up the first page there that shows the three packages, Christie, if you're able to do that, down at the bottom of the premium pass, it tells you what the discounts are, and it does include the annual conference and the expo, and other live virtual programming, even in-person learning.
Okay.
So if that answers whoever's question that was.
Ken, I have a thought on your, on wanting more people to use the classes. Now that things are going to start loosening up more and more, down the road, we might be able to get to a point where we could hold some, like group viewings or something, and the different topics, maybe at the hall and provide a snack or something like that. Just an idea.
Well, I think that'd be a good idea if we got a group of the people with the same common class that they want, that we just put it up on the screen and we all watch it. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done, I think last year I did a couple of webinars. There were one in maybe half an hour or an hour long. So it was very knowledgeable.
And those lunchtime ones are pretty good too. Or the now you know.
Is there any more discussion, Ken, that we need, or?
no, I don't need any more discussion. I need someone to make a motion to approve purchasing. You want to go for the $1,900 package? Is that what I'm hearing?
That would be my thought. I'd
Well,
like
let's go home and approve purchasing the $1,900 package for the MTA online subscription. Well, at a cost of $1,900. So that's a premier. Casey, you took that down, didn't you? Or did I?
That's
do
premium
something there?
pass. Premium pass.
Premium pack.
Premium. Yep. All right, so the premium pass at a price of $1,900.
Correct. Do I have a second?
I'll support.
Don't we have to have in there our annual due amount as well as the $1,863?
No, because that is an annual purchase that we make every year. So that'll be on your consent agenda for next month.
Okay, yep. Is there a motion for the for the premium pass?
Yes, I think we got that from you, Gary. Did you not just make the motion?
Sure.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second again.
Bev,
Yes.
roll call vote. Christie,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
and Ken, yes. I-4, conservation. The board needs to decide if they are going to participate in the Conservation District annual contribution, and if so, how much. Last year, the township participated and was able to remove tires from the transfer station. I think last year they participated at the $500 level. Is there any discussion?
Aren't we on the schedule again for another tire thing for them this summer?
We're on for another 2 days of free dump day after Labor Day in September if the township board approves that.
Okay.
We
And-
haven't approved it yet, but right now we talked in our budget of doing two-day free dump passes.
I
So
feel
Ken,
like,
she's actually talking about the hold on. You're talking about two different things.
Yes, the
Mhm.
So-
conservation.
This is yes. So July 7th is when we're on the schedule for the conservation program in Columbia Township, the Columbia Township tire pickup and electronics for this year. I don't know if you remember when we had her come and speak to us, because it was very confusing that they do this. You donate the year for the year prior. I don't remember. It was really bizarre, but the prior donation covered the current transferring. So this new donation can to propose something to be put on our schedule for next year.
This schedule, unless I'm reading it incorrectly, we're on for July 7th.
Correct. That is due to our prior donation.
Correct. Okay, correct.
And to, by donating again, we stay on their roster, and we're allowed to take advantage of the other things that they sponsor, such as the household hazardous waste collections, the electronics collections, not to mention all the other things that the Conservation District does that I feel like personally our township benefits from. We may not always see it or know it's happening, but it's happening.
So does this mean that we would keep the same date, July 7th, or would that vary?
That once the contribution is made, then she reaches out to the supervisor to discuss the date for next year.
Okay, okay. So I'll move that we continue our association with the Van Buren Conservation District at the same level that we did last year, which was the $500, I believe.
Is there any other discussion on that?
And
Gary, you want to make a motion to contribute $500 to the Conservation District?
Correct.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. It's Rhonda.
Rhonda's got a second. Roll call vote. Christie?
yes,
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Beverly? Beverly?
Yes.
And Ken, yes. The CIP survey. It's a 2021 survey for the capital improvement plan. Just for note, tomorrow night, they're having a public hearing on the towers by the planning commission. Has nothing to do with the CIP, but is part of the planning commission. So any discussion on the capital improvement plan survey?
Yes. So Gary was mentioning earlier that we mail the survey out separately as opposed to an insert in the taxes.
so this is my only concern at this point is that, oh, I hope I'm not disconnecting again. Can you guys still hear me okay?
I hear you.
I can hear you.
Good. Great. Is that the planning commission voted on how they wanted it to be distributed at this point. And if I know ultimately the board is responsible for budget ultimately. However, we would be spending their budget without their knowledge if we were to change this.
Okay, well, I know that the board actually has the final say so, but do we have to take it out of the planning commission budget? And if so, then then our option is to include it in the tax bill. I don't believe that I don't think we need to provide a stamped envelope. I think if someone wants to get the survey back to us, they will. However, I think there needs to be maybe in your box on the newsletter, instructions on, please fill out the survey and drop it off at the township, or go online and fill one out if you don't want to do that.
Rhonda, when you filled out the KCI request, did they have to know how many pages we were inserting?
Yes,
How many pages did you tell them?
I told them it was two-sided. The newsletter was two-sided.
So 1 page, 2-sided?
Yep.
So, but, all right, so that's just for the cost, correct? It's not too late, Rhonda?
No, I have to have everything by Tuesday, no later than Tuesday.
And we submit to them electronically. They do the printing.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes.
I feel like it's important that this go to it, that it go in the tax bills, because if not, I'm just afraid that too many people that do have, the ones with skin in the game, the property owners, regardless if they live here or not, that they won't get their input. And what I was thinking was, as projects get chosen or targeted, whatever word you want to use, by the board, and then you wanted to fine tune anything about it. Let's say everybody says, oh, we need more parks. And then you could get more input then from just general community. I just feel like the taxpayers need to definitely have input on this, because this might end up involving eventually projects that are going to require some tax input to be possible at all.
Okay. Planning Commission meeting, there was discussion about putting this on specially colored paper and sending it out so that only one response could come from an address. However, we have property owners that own multiple properties. So the concern was brought up that we would get multiple responses back.
Now, you just broke up for part of that, Christy. Could you repeat that?
I was just stating what the discussion was at the Planning Commission meeting, that there was a concern that we get multiple responses back from one person because they would get multiple surveys if we sent them in the tax bills. And then just my personal is that it clearly states only one from each family unit can submit a response. And I have 3 adult citizens in my home that all have very different opinions that probably would like to fill this out, but we have to somehow consolidate our opinion.
Oh, okay. So my thought on that part of it, because I know you had voiced that concern, and I've been thinking about that, and I feel like, so let's say you've got the couple, and you've got an adult, a college student or something at home. That's where I was thinking that once there are projects you want to do, then you fine tune what do you want about this project? Like back to the example on parks. Okay, we've identified that parks is a need area. What specifically would you like to see in parks to get the use idea? I guess I just can't see someone who's not, if they're not a homeowner, not paying taxes, it's easy to answer, sure, I'll support this, sure, I'll support that, but that's my thought on it.
Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of these different, even the different activities and things that you're looking at. I can see several here where I would be like, oh, yeah, I'd like that. But my husband and my daughter would say, nope, don't care. So how do you actually get the opinions of your entire citizen?
I guess you would circle all of them, and then you would say, there's that rating scale for the one where would you support this with taxes, but
I don't know. I feel like I feel like the way that this is set up is it's punishing the rule, the person who sticks to the rule, and it's rewarding the rule breakers. That's just my opinion.
So do you guys have like a ballpark idea of how many properties out there are, how many multiple property owners there are? Is it a lot?
Yeah, there's quite a few. And maybe that's something we need to get a list going of people that own multiple properties. That way we could save ourselves some money on mailings, one, and two, that way we know, for other things, maybe even to know how many multiples there are.
Well, Rhonda, don't you have in your database, you have people's names that have multiple properties. So in essence, you could just send out one survey to the one property owner, even though there's 5 parcels, or there's 5 parcels, but you only send out one survey to them.
Right, but right now, if we did this, sent out the surveys this way, you're going to get the multiples in there because the
ACI
doesn't know, what the multiples are. We'd have to send that a list, of who we want the surveys to go to, and just one, one per person.
Will they do that, Rhonda? Because most places like that will charge you a fortune to separate things like that.
That's why my thought process was to mail the survey out to property owners in a separate mailing, and have the other people that have multiple adults that want to participate go online. And you can also have a required field like you do for the sale of the properties, that you have to fill in the address. So that way, when you got it back, you'd know if there were multiple people coming back with the same address.
So the form does have, the form has the address on there. However, let's keep in mind, this is a written form. And while you can say it's required, that doesn't mean that they're going to fill it out.
Right. And yeah, but that's, it's the same thing. I mean, there are going to be some people, I guess, I can't imagine how many, but that would like cheat on a survey. I can't understand why. So I'm thinking, as far as only allowing one per address, then maybe the answer is to have a question, add a question to the survey that says, do you own your property? Because if they own their property, do you personally own this property, or do you live with others that own property? And have them check one or the other. That way,
I think the key to the whole the whole problem would be, make sure that you put clear instructions on the form. Because people can cheat online. They can make up a property address or whatever, and unless somebody's going to check it, who's going to know? Now, just because I'm the kind of guy I am, if I was doing this, I'd check the property. But that's me. Because you might get 5 or 6 from the same person with fictitious properties.
Well, but checking the property isn't a problem. We can have that done. And online, it can be required that they provide an address. That's not a problem. So those couple of
It's
things.
the same thing. They're either going to fill in the address or they're not.
Well, if
So-
it's online, then you can require it, just to be clear.
Correct. You can have a required field that if you don't put it in there, it's not going to go.
Right.
Okay, my only problem with the online thing is, and I love having it online. I think that's a great idea. I just want to make sure that there's plenty of people. I know there's people out there who would probably fill out the survey who aren't gonna have the skill to do it online. So I'm not married to a certain way that I want this to be. I just am trying to rack my brain to come up with what's fair and what's going to reach everyone. Because if we don't make a real effort to reach as much of the community as we can, then we're not getting a real result. That's all.
So the Planning Commission had voted to request that we place a fairly decent sized ad in the news or
In the
article,
reminder,
in the reminder, in the newsletter, and on the website. And in that ad, it would include a link to the online version, but it would also include instructions on how they could call the hall, tell the hall, or whatever, the hall, they could text me, I'll put that in there, to get a written survey sent to them if they wanted one. So that was what the Planning Commission had discussed at their meeting.
I
know I was there.
not, well.
Yeah, well,
my
I'm not
only-
telling you, Bev, I'm telling everybody else.
Oh, yeah. And I think those are all good ideas. I just feel like with, sometime the more steps, although I guess it's not unreasonable to ask someone to call. I really would like it to be included in the tax mailing, because it's our one opportunity to mail it pretty much for free, close to free. I mean, it's the charge of the 2 pieces of paper and the printing.
I agree with Beverly.
Late for that.
It's funny this subject comes up about the mailing stuff. I really do think it should be in with the tax bills as well. I happen to ask a couple of older people that are retired, one of them being my mother-in-law, if she had an option, if she got something in the mail to fill out, would she do it in a survey and send it back in? Or if the other option was, there's a note in here, there's a survey, you can either call the hall and we'll mail one to you, or you can come down and get one. Which would you prefer? And both of them basically said, if it was mailed, if I had it in hand, I'd probably do it. But if I have to go through all these steps to get it, I'm not doing it at all.
But then the follow-up is, would she turn it in? Because
Yeah.
Yes. If she got it in hand from a mailing, she said, yeah, she'd do it because it's there.
So
So,
I'm actually fully in support of putting the survey in with the newsletter, the tax bill as well. And I haven't disagreed with that from the beginning. But I was trying to just explain why the Planning Commission came up with the decision the way that they did. There's at least one member of the Planning Commission that is concerned about duplicate responses.
That's what they're gonna get. Another thing is we aren't paying for the postage for them to mail it back, are we?
No,
Okay.
No, I would not put on a separate return envelope in
Okay, I
there.
just wanted to make sure that, because you're talking a lot of money here,
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
taken away from your capital improvement plan. So I would be thinking about that.
So what other discussion we need, or do we have to make a decision on this tonight?
I have a couple comments here.
Good.
The line that says this is a public opportunity to direct spending priorities of your tax dollars. Unlike an election, we ask that each family unit submit a single response. This survey is supposed to be for an inhabitant or a registered voter of the township to be able to answer. And if you deny a registered voter to answer, then you are denying his right to be able to fill out this survey. So I would not say that a single response per family unit. I don't think that would be ethical. The second thing I think is I think the format needs to be worked out a little bit better so it's easier to get through. And I would like you guys to allow me and Christy to kind of make some minor changes and reformat this so it's easier to fill out without a lot of problems. I think we can do a lot better job and make it easier, clear, more precise, and easier for them to walk through it. And that would be my part of my discussion on this. I have read this, and there's a couple things that you just can't, I don't think you can even ask. I mean, that needs to be adjusted. So
what do you,
I think
Ken,
that-
what,
I think-
what do you mean you think what things do you think cannot be asked?
well,
I'm trying to understand.
are you renting or living in the township? I don't think that's something that matters. If they're an inhabitant of the township, they're an inhabitant of the township.
I actually think it's really
You know,
interesting.
a renter has every right to vote on our what our future of our community is
It
because
says,
they rent our township.
why do you own rent property in Columbia Township? I guess was thinking the answer to that would be, oh, because I think Columbia Township is beautiful, or
Can we just
that kind of
make
thing.
it, can we say, why do you live or own property? Because
Yeah.
to me, I looked at that and I was like, why do you want to know why I live here? Like, I don't understand this question.
You can't ask them about whether they rent or not. An inhabitant is somebody that lives in our township. They may rent as an inhabitant, as long as they're registered to vote.
We weren't asking them if they were renting. We were asking why you live here. Like, you know, I guess a better question would be, why do you like living in Columbia Township? Maybe
Living or owning property in Columbia
Yeah.
Township. Yes. Yeah.
and the reason, Ken, the reason I was thinking that this survey was directed towards property owners, and not just voters, was because the property owners would be the ones to bear the burden when it does come, if or when it comes to taxes. But
if
Well,
you're
here,
married,
let me
aren't
read.
you paying rent?
Let me read
just-
you another section of this. It says, in Michigan, a township's sole legal responsibility is to assess and collect taxes. And then it lists a couple other things. Well, that's not our sole responsibility.
it's to.
We got a lot more responsibilities than what's listed there. So using the word sole there is not a correct representation of what we do.
Well, that was actually from MTA, the sole
Well,
purpose.
I found it on MTA, but
The
I
sole
also went-
purpose,
I also went and looked at the case law that says that our responsibility is a lot more than what you got there as a sole responsibility.
the only reason the township exists is to assess property, collect taxes, and to hold elections. Everything else we do is because the township has decided they want to do it. So those are like extras, but, okay.
Well, if you look at the second paragraph on this, where it says the purpose says, while local government is only required to provide a few limited services, Columbia Township is willing and may be able to expand services if supported by taxpayers.
Hey, so with that being said, sorry, I'm trying to think of a way we can get this down to 2 pages also. So since it's already said up higher, do we need this other paragraph in there? But I'm gonna talk specifically to Bev about this one because you're the representative of the Planning Commission. But since it's already stated up here, do we need it to also be stated here?
I didn't follow that.
No,
Okay, so up here, it says, while the local government is only required to provide blah, blah, blah. This is basically the same statement as this one. It's just worded differently.
yeah.
So can we just remove this second version so that we can start work on consolidating and with formatting, consolidate this to potentially get it into 2 pages so we can do a front and a back?
Yeah, I think there's room to do that.
Okay,
Or you could change the terminology and say in Michigan, one of the responsibilities of the township is to blah, 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 access and collect taxes and host elements, elections, road management, so to speak. It doesn't have to say
Yeah, I
township
like that
solely.
better. Yeah,
Doesn't have to be
that's better.
solely responsibility. It can be
That's-
just one of
so can
Michigan.
can I consolidate them so that the purpose is all in one place though? That's the biggest. I don't want to take
Yeah.
away from the intent of the survey because the Planning Commission worked very hard to make sure this is what they wanted. So I don't want to take away from the intent of it, but I'd love to be able to get it down to 2 pages if we're going to mail it. So it's a 1-page front and back.
That's not going to happen. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages.
No, it's only 3 pages. Currently, it's only 3 pages.
Yeah, it's only 3, and there are some things in there that.
Like this right here with formatting, I could put them side
and the
by side.
formatting, we knew the formatting needed some work. That was a problem.
I think Christy and I can format
Yeah.
this down into easily 2 pages, and I think we probably might be able to work it down even smaller. But a lot of the stuff you're writing up there is can be condensed. The introduction and the purpose could be put into one paragraph instead of 2. It's, they're really getting a survey out is what we want, not necessarily the telling them introduction and with the improvement plan, what the purpose is. And when you give me that list there, the most important thing that I think we do is do a budget, and we have financial responsibilities as township, which they say isn't the sole legal responsibility of us doing that, but our oath is basically to do that.
And those are the kind of things that go without saying. If you're doing a township, you assume that you're doing the budget and all the other things that you're legally liable to do while you're running a township. Is so.
Well, you can say that, Bev, but it says
first
it's sole legal responsibility, and it's not sole legal responsibility. I mean, if I read that as a citizen, I'm kind of insulted that that's all you think you work on.
So I guess you're reading it from a different point of view. That
Correct.
Like Geneva Township, they don't do zoning. There's a lot of things they don't do because a township isn't required to. A township isn't required to have
a fire department, not required to have EMS, they're not required to do a lot of things.
Correct. That was the point. But yet Columbia Township does a lot more for you. But however, there is more if you want us to, that we will look at doing. That's how I was looking at the whole thing.
Okay, so are we okay with kind of reworking it with the spirit of what was there? I don't want to reword a bunch of stuff, but I'd like to consolidate and make sure that, that it comes across the way it should come across, with the full spirit of what the planning commission worked on. Is that okay with everyone?
I don't have a problem with that as long as it doesn't alleviate or change the venue or the significance of how it's supposed to come across to the public. And I think since Bev was involved with this with the planning commission, she should be involved with the revision as well.
Yeah.
And we're going to take out then the also the family unit and let people submit individual responses.
I'm strongly in support of taking that out. And to your point, if we're looking for taxpayers, there's a lot of households, at least 2 people on those tax bills, sometimes more.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And those
Okay,
are the-
well, we need to do
those are the
something,
people-
that's for sure. We got to get this going, so.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, but the taxpayers are ones that are funding all this, so they should have they should have the say. And
Agreed.
since Bev was already on the committee on this, I think she should remain and have the input as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with, especially even if Bev doesn't have, I don't know what your schedule is, Bev, and mine is obviously kind of limited right now. But even if we get to the point where we have to get your approval, if we can't all connect together, I think it's important for us to get your approval before it goes out.
Yeah, that's fine. I can work out whatever. We'll be doing it electronically, I'm assuming,
Yes.
because you're gone and.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So so the plan is to include it in the tax bill?
I think it's gonna be included in the tax bill. That's what I'm hearing.
Or are we sending it as a separate mailing? Because I've heard 2 different things now, so I'm not really sure.
Well, I thought we were going to include it in the tax bill. And because we should be able to meet the deadline before Rhonda's deadline.
Okay, so Rhonda,
Here, let me throw out something else. Instead of doing a mailer out, there's no reason we can't take this survey and put it in the reminder and have them where they could cut it out of the reminder and send it in.
That would
Well,
cost more than mailing it.
yeah,
Well, you'd have to ask a reminder, but you're not. The other thing is they have these postcards that you can mail out that can have a survey on it, which are cheaper than mailing it out.
okay, so I've actually priced all of these things that we're talking about in the very recent past. And I strongly believe it'll be cheaper for us to put it in the tax bill, or to do a separate envelope mailing. We could do an insert into the reminder, but there are other logistical issues that are caused by that, or that are impacted by that. So I think we should do one or the other, either the direct mailing to the refined list so that we don't have property owners getting multiple mailings, or in the tax bill, if we're going to send paper out to everyone.
My personal opinion would be put it in a tax bill, if it can be reduced down in order to do that. And then you can also have it online with a required field so people can fill it out and send it in.
Yeah, we'll still keep it online, and Ruth will actually enter all of the paper ones when they come in into the online tool so that it's all in one place when it's handed over to the planning commission.
I think the drawback to having it in the reminder and having people cut it out and have them do this and do that, the more things they have to do, the less they're going to do, and they're just going to not do it at all.
So that means, Rhonda, you, as soon as possible, will need to have KCI requote. We'll need to add another page to the mailing.
Okay.
And that would be double-sided, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
And
on colored paper. like yellow, bright yellow.
Okay.
Can I get a motion on what we're gonna do?
If you can state it, I'll make it.
I'll move to approve that we include the CIP survey and its edited format to, or in the tax bill for the summer. There's going to be a cost, at a cost not to exceed, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be about $300, so I'll say $500. Does that
Mhm.
seem about right, Rhonda?
Probably. I won't know until I ask for a quote. Because I don't know what, I'm not sure what it was before I got the quote on the newsletter, so I can look at the paperwork and see what's on there, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to tell.
I'm just remembering from last fall when we put the newsletter in, I want to say it cost like $280 or $90.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, Christy, speaking of the newsletter, in your yellow box there, are you going to direct them to the website and to fill out the
Yes.
instructions for this, fill it out and turn it in?
Yes.
Okay.
Another thing on that newsletter, on the days we're open, you put Monday through Friday, 9 to 1, and then you put Wednesday, 2:30. So people would think that we're open on Wednesday from 9 to 1, and then we leave, and then we come back at 2:30 to 6:30. That needs to be
Yes.
changed.
I think I may take some of the general information that we have on the website off,
On
so
the
we can make some space
website.
for some other things.
Right.
So do we have a motion?
Yes, move to approve placing the edited CIP survey in the tax bill at a cost not to exceed $500.
Do I have a
Seconded.
second?
Seconded.
Gary? Christie?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yeah.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
And Ken, yes. 1.6, a sound meter with data logging for the deputy. We have some issues out there with people complaining about loud noise, and we have no way to enforce our noise ordinance without having some sort of way of getting a digital sound meter to measure the actual noise level, which is in the ordinance. Open for discussion.
Yeah, I didn't know they enforced noise ordinances here. In my experience, they haven't.
Well, this is why they haven't, because they don't have a decibel meter, so they cannot enforce it without having the equipment to test.
And I believe partly it was before, I believe we had the sheriff's department saying, well, you guys don't have a noise ordinance, and we did.
Yeah.
Well, when I worked Antwerp Township, we had a decibel meter there because we had some problems with some noises. And the decibel meter at that point that they had decided to purchase was around $2,300 to $2,500. And looking at the information and the material that was pulled up, and I don't know who researched this or pulled this up, but I see that the model numbers that I think would be a good mix is far less than even $600. And it has the software that goes with it, and it's programmable, and you can store it. And I think it's a good idea because you cannot enforce noise ordinance without some kind of documentation.
Yeah. And I kind of gravitate towards, I know it's the more expensive one, but it has better calibration capabilities, and I think that that will stand up better in court. So I kind of gravitate more towards the one that's closer to the $500 mark. because it'll stand up in court a little bit better.
Well, the
Is
one that
that
I
the-
was,
Is that the one you just scrolled, Christie, the 539?
Yeah,
that's the one
and
that I
actually, I
was,
think maybe it's okay, good.
yeah, that's the one that I think would be the better unit. It's a total kit and it could, the dep can take it in his car like I used to. And you might be surprised, some of the people who complain about the noise, when they actually use this machine to show the levels, sometimes they don't even come up to what's unknowable. So I would, I looked at this model number 47732 kit for $539.70. I think that's a good value, and it does both ranges, A and B ranges, and has a wide range of the decibels. So accuracy is plus or minus 1 and 1.5, which is pretty darn good.
So Gary, having had experience with these as a deputy, can you kind of like give me a quick example of how you would use this? When?
Well, yeah, of course, if I wasn't working, then it was a moot point, but we had some come in when I was working. Now, the one that I had a tuning fork similar to what you'd use for a piano, and you just turned the unit on and hit the tuning fork and held it up, and it calibrated it to the sound base that was supposed to be, and then calibrated it to 0. And then you just pointed it to the noise, and it read it itself. And then you hit the freeze button, and it logged it in.
And then what did you do with that information? You told the people, hey, you're above the decibel level, and
No, I would make a written report. Anytime there was a
Okay.
complaint, anytime a complaint come in, it was through dispatch. They assigned a complaint number. I did a written report along with the values for from the meter, and then gave it to the prosecutor, or told the complainant that the levels were not out of range.
and this allows them to download the data onto their laptop or something like that?
Yeah.
Kristen?
Yes.
And then that's what they would submit for evidence, should they get a citation? And
Yes.
is that what happens if someone, I'm just kind of curious about this whole subject now. Let's say someone's got a party going or something and they won't quit, then they get a citation? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
They could do that, or it could, if there was a citation written, that type of system, then yes, they just write them and then they'd appear in court, or they'd fight it or whatever. If it was really bad, then probably they'd go to the prosecutor, and besides citation, they might get some additional charges. But that all has to be determined.
And could it also be used to solve some community neighbor problems? Like, someone's saying, oh, they're making too much noise over there. And then the officer comes out and does the meter and says, well, in fact, ma'am, they're well below the nuisance level. And I've got the proof right here on this. Is that ever a scenario that happens?
Yeah, that's happened before. One of the ones was a dog kept barking all the time. Well, sometimes dogs bark.
Okay.
So it can settle, or it's supposed to settle neighborhood disputes, as well as commercial property too.
One of the things that we were looking at is generator operations for trailers is becoming an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be
Yeah.
able to get them on a noise ordinance, you have to have the meter.
Correct. Yeah, you could use it for that.
Well,
End of
I feel like it's a tool that, for the deputy.
Well, it's just, in order to enforce your ordinance, you have to have a tool to do it with, and that's what this would do.
Yeah, it's not somebody's perception, it's a fact then, once they measure it with a meter.
Right.
So, yeah. Mm.
If there's no other discussion on this, I would move that we purchase the digital sound level.
digital sound level meter kit
Yep,
at a price not to exceed $539.70. Well, we make it $550.
$550, kit number
Yeah.
407732.
Correct. I got a motion by Gary. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll support.
That is Beverly.
You figured it out.
Yeah. Okay, Christie,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes,
and Beverly. Yes, right, Beverly?
Yes, yes.
And Ken, yes. Let's see, that was 6. 7, resolution 2021-14. It's a resolution for the acceptance of payment by financial transaction devices. Rhonda talked about this during the information and report section. Any discussion? I think it's a great idea myself, but any other discussion?
We have to decide which departments are going to be allowed to accept payments via financial transaction device.
well, according to the copy that I have, there's also some things on here that don't even exist. So I don't know why they're even on here.
Yeah, that too.
It's probably a standard form, a template
Yes.
form.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
So I suggest that we start off with zoning permits and building permits.
Before you state that, I just want to say that I don't want to have to redo this 10 times if we can help it. If we're planning on doing something in the future, we should include it in this now.
Well, like, what were you thinking?
Well, I don't know. I just wanted to say that before you went through the list.
Okay.
If there's anything on the list that we may want to do, we may want to take credit card payments for in the future, we should leave it on there.
Because the assessor takes, which I don't have a problem with running a credit card for the land divisions. That's not a problem. Let's see here.
Would that fall under zoning or that be,
It would be under special assessment payments.
oh, okay, all right.
No, I don't think so. Land division is something different. It's a assessing, it's not a special assessment payment. Because special assessments are like our SADs, our special assessment districts.
Well, those are included in,
So- oh, I'm sorry.
those are included in on the tax bill. So
Right.
So we may
right.
just want to say assessor department fees or something.
okay.
That would include land divisions or any, I'm trying to, she takes payments for. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, the only comment I have is whenever you start anything new that has to do with electronic devices, there's always bumps in the road. There's always glitches that you have to iron out. And my opinion would be start with just the things that you need to see how it goes, make sure it flows correctly. And then if you want to add something to it, this would be a resolution. You don't have to rescind this resolution. All you have to do would be amend it and add whatever you needed to do in the future.
So
But that's my opinion.
what would be the difference of just leaving? What would be the difference of just leaving it on there and then Rhonda just makes the decision of what she's going to collect credit card payments for?
Well, we don't
Because
have
I
one.
have-
We don't have water and sewer.
Well, I know that.
We don't,
I'm
okay,
not
well,
saying you need to leave that on there.
Well, we could put on there the stuff we might use in the future. But as for right now, I will give the, people at All Paid a list of ones that I want covered, that we're gonna cover starting
okay, so
out.
it all doesn't have to be activated this time, just the
No.
ones that needed to be done.
Right.
Okay,
Tonight, we'll just-
Under your resolution, it says financial transaction that may be made by a financial transmission device shall include.
Right.
The maybe is not saying you have to do it. I
Right,
would take the water and sewer off. But I think all the other stuff don't seem unreasonable, but I also think Rhonda can decide which one she wants to accept at this time, and then
Just so,
as we move on, she adds them as she deems appropriate.
I think that's a good choice.
okay, so from what I'm hearing right now, so far, I have remove water and sewer and add assessor department fees.
Yes,
Right. And it's to be authorized by me. And the financial transactions that cannot be made, no getting cash back.
I'm sorry, state that again?
It says, on this form, financial transactions that cannot be made by a financial transmission device shall include, and I put getting cash back.
mine says may.
What?
Yeah, I'm lost too. I'm,
Well, I
Right
don't think
above
we
the
should get
real and
cash.
personal property taxes, the dots.
It's the next line down, because I copied this from the website.
Oh, I think I okay, I may have removed that line because it didn't have cash back on, and I don't know why we would, I guess I didn't think that we had to put that on there.
Well,
Okay,
somebody,
that on that original one was cash back?
oh, no, I put that in there. There was 2 lines to add something, and I put that in there because I don't want people thinking they can get cash.
you can't, as far as I know, you can't get cash back with a credit card. We're
Anyway,
Well, yes, you can,
not like the grocery store.
with the debit
right.
cards and the credit cards.
I don't think we can legally. Yeah, but I don't think we can legally do that anyway because of what we're collecting money for. And so this says, these are the things that it can include. But these things, if it's not on that list, then we can't do it, right?
Okay, all right.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
So you've got, from what I'm looking at here, you've got the first bullet point is real and personal property taxes.
Yep,
And you don't need the special assessment because they come in with the tax bill, right?
Well, we do need the special assessment. Yep, I think we still need it there though, because it's really technically a separate item.
Plus somebody may not pay it on their property taxes, but come in and pay it later.
Yeah,
Okay, water and sewer you don't need, right?
correct. We're gonna
Right, you
remove
don't
water
need
and
that.
sewer.
Zoning permits and building permits you want, right?
yep,
No, you could get those.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, yep.
Burial right certificates, you don't need that, do you?
no,
I would suggest we leave it in case we have a change in the future. In that, because right now we're contracting with them and they manage all of those payments, but that's not always been the way it is and change in the future.
Well, it's whatever Rhonda thinks that she's gonna need to get this up and running with as little glitches as possible, I would think would be the way to start.
well, I'm gonna have them put on their real and personal property taxes, zoning permits and building permits to start with. That's what I'm gonna have the company put on there,
You want to do building permits?
or Well, no, because we don't get the money for that either.
Currently, no. That's why, like, the building permits and the burial right certificates are on the list for a possible future thing, not necessarily for now.
Right. Well, it's gonna be, whatever I take right now is gonna be told to the people at All Paid. And then if I choose to add after that, because I gotta get used to this whole thing too. So, the reports and all that kind of stuff. So, for right now, I want to start small and then work my way up.
And you have complete control over that. We're just trying to pass a resolution so that you have the power to do it. So, yep. So I hear that we're going to remove water and sewer. We're going to add assessor department fees. Are there any other necessary changes to that list?
I don't think so, because you've also got included on there transactions within the township offices is in an amount over $5. That kind of just about covers it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it says the following departments are authorized to accept such payments by financial transaction devices.
And that's my department.
Okay, so are you the only one that is going to be running the credit card?
Well, it'll be under my discretion.
Yes, I agree with that, but are you the only one that will be running the credit card?
Probably Ruth will too.
So Ruth is under technically, I believe, the township board department.
Is she your deputy?
Which is
Rhonda?
kind of weird because
No,
Is she
Karen's my deputy, and she'll be authorized to run credit cards too.
Departments. Well, isn't there a difference between departments and the person? So if the treasurer's department, because she is a board member, can she not direct Ruth to accept the credit card? So
she's so.
Am I
If
reading
you look
this
at it
wrong?
specifically from what, okay, so the way that departments are determined in the municipal world is what fund the employee is paid out of.
Oh, okay.
And Ruth is not paid out of the treasurer fund. She is paid out of the township board fund. So, ultimately, this is a resolution providing some general guidelines. Rhonda still has the discretion to provide the tools to the people that will be using them. So we could just put all departments and then Rhonda provides the tools to whoever she needs to have the tools.
Or you could put under other specified person specifically authorized by the treasurer.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you could put anybody.
Right.
So I guess Ron will have to figure that out.
You could change treasurer. You can put John treasurer at the bottom and her designated personnel, and eliminate all that other stuff. And then Rhonda, you'd have to just have a list of your designated people on file.
All right, so instead of saying the following departments, we're going to say the treasurer and designated and the treasurer and treasurer's designated personnel are authorized to accept payments.
Correct.
Okay.
That sounds good.
That way, if she ever gets in a bind, she can designate someone for 3 days if she has to.
Then I think you ought to take out the top sentence before it says all departments is the following are authorized, not departments.
Yeah,
just
I'm
the
gonna remove
following.
all that.
Yeah, good comment, Gary.
Don't you hate for high finance?
I'm glad we're doing this though, because not a lot of people carry cash anymore.
Right.
All right, so are there any other changes that need to be made? Currently, the changes that will be noted, if approved, are that we will remove water and sewer from the bulleted list, add assessor department fees to the bulleted list, completely remove the following departments and and replace with the treasurer and treasurer's designated personnel are augments by financial transaction devices.
Sounds good.
Chrissy, that person that's designated, will they need an oath of office?
There's no office, so no, I don't believe so.
It's not an office, but you're collecting money. Is there any,
However, I would like to state that we have certain people in our township that are bonded.
Yes, that's
The secretary is one of them. The secretary,
okay, good.
board members, yes.
Christy, could you scroll this back down? I'm trying to compare this to the printed one I have. Oh, okay, good. I saw what I needed to see.
And Christy, you had said something about the American Express, them not accepting fees. I asked that Joseph if that was the case, and he said they never had a problem with the American Express using it. So I guess we can just go ahead and let them use it if they have them. And if it won't accept the fees, it'll deny it anyway.
Okay.
Now, is there is a fee to use your credit card?
Yes.
Okay. And it's a set amount?
Yes.
It's a set amount?
Or it's, where is that paperwork?
Isn't it typically 3% of the transaction?
It's $2.50. Wait, I can't remember. I have it at the office. I don't have it.
Oh, this is a transaction fee from the service.
Yes, it has nothing to do with us.
Okay.
And the people will know, we'll have something posted that they'll know that they're paying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's no different than using their Visa card for a transaction anyplace else. There's always a fee to be charged with it.
Right.
Well, except,
Not always.
no, I was gonna say, I don't pay the fee when I go to the grocery store. The grocery store does.
Right.
You pay it in your
But
groceries.
small
don't
places
kid
tend
yourself.
to, and that's because they can't afford not to.
Right.
So I'd like to me, if I wanted to come in and pay my taxes with a credit card, the fee would probably be worth the convenience to me.
Well, the municipalities in Michigan that use this paid is, in fact, we're the state that uses it the most, according to them. So
Trustee, are we ready to get a motion on this?
Sure. I have the changes, so if somebody wants to make a motion, I have the changes to go with it.
Well, you already talked about all the changes, right? You got the changes to the financial transaction. You took that out. You got water and sewer out. You put an assessor there. You got a statement about Rhonda being authorized along with her designates,
Yes.
and that's going in there, and that's basically all the
Give that all
changes,
back,
right?
So
We need to get a motion to approve resolution 2021-014 as
Amended.
modified by the township board to remove special water and sewer payments, include the assessor, take out the financial transaction line for authorization, change that to Rhonda and her alternates.
fine. Do I need to put all of that in the motion, or can we just say
No,
it,
you
move to
can
approve
you can get that down as discussed.
2021-14. Okay, with changes.
I'll
With
make the
changes.
motion. Do you need a motion?
We need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2021-014 as modified by the board tonight. Is that good enough?
I'll second that.
I guess it is.
Christie, is that?
I guess we'll go to vote.
That's fine.
Christie,
Yes.
Rhonda,
yes.
Gary. Gary,
He's frozen. Who seconded that while we're waiting for him to unfreeze?
Gary,
Gary
Gary,
did.
Gary.
Jerry,
Gary, vote.
Yes.
Beverly
Yes.
and Ken, yes. I-8 pancake breakfast fundraiser for the fire department. And I guess the discussion here is, should we have a pancake fundraiser for the township emergency service this year? With the virus going on, should we try to do something outside with tables, or should we not do anything this year? Up for discussion.
Do you have a time frame for the pancake breakfast?
I haven't discussed it with the fire department yet. Dave's probably hearing about this for the first time.
Well, I know that a lot of the other fire departments, when they have a fundraiser, whether it be a pancake or a cookout or brats or whatever, it's done at the fire hall because they got a lot of room there. And I think it's a good idea to have a fundraiser.
I've been wondering how people are handling the whole buffet style. Oh, and my internet's being funky again. Sorry. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can now.
Okay, good. So anyway, the only thing I can suggest after watching how buffet style feeding is going on here is that if we do have some sort of a food fundraiser, that we have designated people for serving, and that until the person takes the fully loaded plate from them. Does that make sense?
oh,
Yeah.
you broke up, so I didn't hear all of what you said, so I don't know.
Okay. Okay, so the way that they're handling things here for the buffet style food is that the person comes up that wants the food, and they talk to the other people behind the area and tell them what they want, and they don't actually touch the plate until it's all the way fully loaded. So there's designated people from handling the food, and they keep it very limited to just a couple of people. And then you don't actually touch the plate and the food and the tongs and stuff all the way through. So that would be my only suggestion if we were going to do some sort of a food related activity.
I agree with that.
Yeah, those are logistics that can be figured out when we figure out when we're gonna have this.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the reason why I said that is because that means you're gonna need enough volunteers. So what the time is, has to be a time when we can have enough volunteers.
Well, if it's a fundraiser for the fire department, you'd think that some of the firefighters would be jumping on board to this, then they could be these servers.
In the past,
well, I think board members can also help out with that. I mean, I see that as being something we should do to help with that. And I think we probably get some other people from the community. But it comes down to when the fire department feels comfortable at doing it. But I wanted to kick it around. This is just for discussion, is whether we think we're capable of doing it or not. And it sounds like there might be a process that we can do to have one. We don't need to have it on the 4th of July. We could have it the following week or even later towards Labor Day. But we should be thinking about doing something and trying to raise some money for them.
I guess as the fire chief, could I comment on everybody talking about a fire department fundraiser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We hadn't planned on the 4th of July because of everything going on right now, and we simply don't have the room or the manpower to handle it over the 4th of July, as a couple of us are going to be gone. But we had talked about having one possibly later into the summer.
Well, it sounds like we're supportive of that, Dave. We'd like to see that happen and to help you do that.
Well, and I appreciate the support. Typically, well, historically, the pancake breakfast, all the proceeds from that have gone to the Van Buren,
Burn camp.
the Great Lakes Burn Camp. So we want to get back to it because they have to be hurting for donations, because a lot of fire departments have canceled their stuff that was for the burn camp. So we definitely want to get back to it. We just have to get it organized. I don't do the organizing of any fundraisers. I help out the day of and do anything that's asked, but we have a fundraising group that takes care of that. So I will get with them and see when everybody feels comfortable getting back to doing this. And I believe it was Christy that basically said that people are doing like the Subway food line, where it's all prepared for the person as they ask for it and then hand it to them. It's a great idea. And we could definitely take that approach at it to keep everybody safe.
Well, I think we would like to help you with advertising and the reminder and things like that to make sure you have a very successful day.
That'd be great.
My only comment would be, guys, is that you try to do it sometime before Labor Day, because you've got a lot of other people from Indiana, Illinois, that sort of thing in the Lakes areas here that are still around that would I'm sure participate in this. You'd have more coverage and more raising of monies, I think, if you did it before Labor Day.
Oh, definitely. Anything after Labor Day in this area is not pointless, but it's not going to draw near as much response.
The Illinois people are going back early now to school. The school is almost starting around the 1st of August. So you lose a lot of vacationers if you even get into August. So.
Yeah, but if you still had it on a Saturday afternoon, they're still going to be here playing with their toys until it gets really cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Maybe.
Okay, that was just for discussion. I don't think we have anything to vote on. Anyone else got something to say?
Well, I'd just like to wrap it up with saying that I'll get information and I'll have a good hard answer for you in next month's meeting.
Sounds good. I'm going to move on to I-9 discussion, West Lawn at the Hall. Our contract services is not mowing the land west of the township parking lot, as there was a small trees growing and the land is unlevel, and it's not normal finishing mower that can actually go over that. I'd like to level the land and allow the contract lawn service to be able to mow the property next year. There'll be probably some rototiller that needs to be done, some removal of the pine tree, and leveling by removing the high spots and taking the soil and moving it to low spots. In addition, there's a wire fence between the township ball field, outfield, and the cemetery. There are trees growing into the fences. Fences growing into the trees, and the trees have to be cut above the fence. We've already done that, and we're going to have to cut the fence and then pull the stumps out. The trees in the fence need to be removed, and the ground will be smoothed out for mowing in the future also. I'm just letting you know that I got the sheriff work crew coming tomorrow, and we're going to be working on cleaning up that fence line and cutting out the fence that's grown into the trees. There's also some root stumps and stuff laying by the tree down there in west of the parking lot that we're going to move out. And another thing, I've been in contact with the DNR and put in an application for a permit to clean up from the Calhaven Trail to the cemetery for both cemeteries, east and west at Columbia Township, to get rid of all the dead trees and remove dead trees and to clean up all the brush. And we're going to start working on that as soon as I get the permit approved. If you want to,
you're going to utilize the work crew of that as well, right?
I'm going to utilize the work crew today, tomorrow, and the following day. And then I got somebody that is on needs some community service hours. He's going to help. And I got a couple volunteers that would like to get the wood that we pull out, the dead wood, and haul it away for us. So
this community service person, is that through court?
That's through court.
Okay.
He's been doing a real good job. Painted the bathrooms, the entranceway. We've taken out the cabinets in the kitchen, painted all the kitchen and behind the cabinets, and he worked out burning some of the public records that were actually burning instead of taking them to being shredded due to the fact of cost of shredding. So he stays out there by the burn barrel and makes sure things are being stirred up and good. Any other comment?
I think that community service, that's a good way to get volunteers.
We're getting a lot of work done with it. And
when
with the
people-
sheriff's department, things are going well.
Yeah, and when the word gets out to people who need community service, that sometimes they have trouble finding a place that is accepting volunteers. So I'm glad we're doing that.
Anyone
Thank
else?
you.
Here we're at the point of public comment. I'm going to say a little bit of thing before we get into that. Tonight we had a lot of things on our agenda that our township board members received last week, which generated a lot of questions. We have spent a lot of time talking about each one of the line items that we had before us tonight in a lot of detail, a lot of questions. And I know a lot of you feel frustrated with being out there listening to what you might consider rambling, but it's the democratic process of being able to deliberate and discuss stuff, good, bad, even some ugly stuff, and then coming up to a final decision. So, you know, we're having meetings only once a month, and we have a lot of data to go through. So if you think that we're wasting a lot of time, and our time, it's every comment, every decision, everything that we say here is important for all of us to hear, because us board members only get together this time to talk amongst ourselves in detail like this. So bear with us. I know I sit back and try to let all the discussion flow, and then kind of towards the end, I throw my input, and I hear what they're saying. I understand what they're saying, and I try to make sure that we're heading in the right direction, and I don't see anything that we're doing that's inappropriate. So now we'll take public comment.
Okay, I just want to mention to those that are watching on YouTube that a link has been placed in the chat on YouTube that will allow you to complete the form that you see on your screen to submit a public comment. Otherwise, if you wish to provide public comment at this point, you can raise your hand or send a chat. And Ken, do you want me to just direct people to go ahead and speak? He's on mute. I'm going to take that as a yes. Karen, go ahead.
Thank you, Christy. I promise I won't be as long as I was at the beginning. I agree with Ken that it was really good discussion. And I know that takes time, but it was well spent. In the beginning, when there was talk about the newsletter, I think you guys did a good job of maintaining that you're able to do both, which is really preferred. And I think you'll be able to do it at an affordable price. I'm also grateful for a lot of this miscellaneous property cleanup that Ken seems to be heading up. So that's what a lot of us have been looking for. So thank you. Dave mentioned as far as fundraiser for fire department is often actually for the burn camp. And I would just request that whoever winds up heading that up, that they do make it clear to whoever is taking part which fund it goes to. It may make a difference to some people. And I think there were people before that were not sure. Also, just a couple questions when we might return to in-person meetings and when anybody can answer those. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Karen. I know you asked 2 questions just now. I got, when are we returning to public or to in-person meetings? What was the other one? I broke up for a minute.
July Board of Review dates, if those have been set.
Thank you. Anyone else have a public comment at this time? You have no one to read, but I want to give everybody. Okay.
Chrissy, we got any more comments?
So far, nothing in chat. I see no raised hands, so I am going to go ahead and pull up this email. Okay. The email property located at the northwest corner at the intersection of County Road 388 and County Road 215, the intersection to the crossing in Grand Junction. The structure was fully engulfed in flames and fully destroyed. Witnessing the smoke and inferno from nearly its beginning, I approached County Road 388 from the north along County Road 215. I dialed 911 to report the incident. I was advised the alarm had already been dispatched for response. Unfortunately, an extended period of time elapsed before a fire response team arrived on site, and then initially only 2 fire trucks from the South Haven Fire Department. In the interim, a Van Buren County Sheriff did first appear. It was only after the appearance of the South Haven fire trucks that anyone or any fire response equipment from Columbia Township Fire Department arrived. With Columbia Township Fire equipment a mere quarter-mile from the location of the fire, does the Columbia Township Board believe this delayed response, albeit a response in which fire and staff from 10 miles away in South Haven arrived first on the scene from the Columbia Township Fire Department, is acceptable and representative of the annual tax millage and expenses for Columbia Township Fire equipment and staff? It doesn't look like I have any further comments at this time. Looks like my internet was being a little funky. I don't see any further comments at this time.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Why don't we, I guess we're going to end public comment at this time. We're going to move on to correspondence and announcements. Our next Township Board meeting is on July 20th at 7 p.m. Is there any other correspondence or announcements we need to make, Christy?
Not that I'm aware of.
Tax bills are coming out. So did I hear July 3rd?
July 1st.
July 3rd. Okay, we're going to move on to L, board comments. Trustee Gruss.
Thank you. There was a couple of things that were going on in my mind that I contacted the supervisor, and also was contacted with the clerk about some budget issues that I had regarding some dump tickets. And apparently I had my my head on backwards, and for some reason I just couldn't get it out of my head about a resolution that was adopted, and I didn't think we did it correctly, but I stand corrected, and I apologize, and I do thank you for both of you getting back to me in superior time. So I apologize for the inconvenience, and maybe I'll have my head screwed on right tomorrow. I'm not sure. The other thing is that I didn't hear all about the fire, I think, because you were cutting in and out, or I couldn't hear it directly. But sometimes when a person makes a statement and maybe is a little upset because of response time, more times than not, that there's a reason there's a delay, and it could be because there's other calls that they've been on or coming back from. So just wanted to make that clear. Being in the law enforcement for over 35 years, sometimes you get bad mouth when it's there's other things involved that people aren't aware of. And last thing I want to mention is that I'm looking forward to getting back to in-person meetings, and I'm pretty sure that our good governor will be loosening up some of the restrictions for the COVID restrictions, and hopefully by July we can have some meetings in person and get back to looking at people face to face. Other than that, I appreciate everybody's work and time, and just have a good safe 4th of July. Thank you.
Trustee Sherrer.
Thank you, Supervisor Speicher. I kind of want to jump off of your comment that you made earlier, Ken, and I just wanted to say that I appreciate the board being willing to, when the meetings, it's been now an hour and a half. The alternative to going through things, and we do read our packets. I want people out there to know that, and we do what we can to prepare. But because we follow the law, we don't have a group, we can't discuss as a group until this meeting. So the only alternative to having thorough discussions on these items is to rubber stamp everything. And I appreciate this board for not doing that. I also appreciate the ability to be able to disagree and then come to some kind of consensus to move on with the important business of the township. And I don't know any of the volunteers that are volunteering out there, but I thank them for it. And that includes the jail crew, because just because they are there doesn't mean that they have to be there in spirit. And from what I'm hearing, they are. And I totally forgot we've got a holiday coming up. So that and our special meeting, Planning Commission tomorrow night, and happy 4th of July.
Treasurer Collins.
I don't have a whole lot to say other than it was a good meeting, a little long, but it was a good meeting, good discussions. And just to reiterate on the time frame, the 22nd, I have to have all the survey and the newsletter, so I can get it to KCI. Other than that, just have a good month.
Clerk Case.
I've been super busy the last few days. It sounds like I'm going to be super busy for the next few, and then the first couple I get back. But I'm learning lots of great things here. I can anticipate that I will be bringing some things to our next board meetings for further discussions based on the information I'm receiving at the conference right now. I will also forward the email from Roger Fleming to the board members that have not received it yet, since it seems that I was breaking up a little bit when I was speaking. I do want to state that the majority of the clerks that are here are stating that they continue to hold meetings virtually for at least months. And some of them have stated that because their counties have issued states of emergency, that they're dedicated to continuing to hold virtual meetings until or through the end of the year. So I'm kind of feeling around to see what other people are doing and how things are going there. There's still a pretty significant concern that there will be problems come fall with the pandemic. So I just wanted to mention that. I think that's about it. I'm about to fall asleep sitting here. So it was a great conversation tonight. Thank you everyone for your feedback. We'll get busy working on things. Have a happy 4th of July.
Thank you, Christy. It's my turn. Gary, I think what you did is coming to us and telling us that there was a problem, and our job is to look into that, and you should never apologize for something like that. I expect that of you, and there would never be a pushback or negative things said about you doing that. Beverly, we're not 1.5 hours into this meeting. We're 2.5 hours into this meeting.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, but we also have to remember we're trying not to have special meetings. So if we take longer here, that's not a bad thing. I'd rather do it at one meeting, get everything taken care of, and go forward. In-person meetings, I'd like to have those as soon as we can, but I'm I'm still going to be hesitant due to the fact of the virus and kind of what the county's doing, kind of follow their lead. CIP is very important to me. I think that we can get a lot of grant money. I think the survey is very important. I am going to do take some of these surveys around door to door and try to get as many as I can when I have time to do that. And I would like to ask everyone else if you can stop by your neighbors with a survey and get them to fill it out, because as much data that we get in that, it's going to give us the best direction that we can get. The CIP program that they're writing right now is just a program. And what that CIP program does is for every project that we want to do, there will be a CIP, which is a capital improvement project number assigned to it that will have to go through a public hearing, and the public will decide whether that project should be done or not. It's not going to, and it's kind of something that the state requires and the federal government requires to get a grant. So it's very important if we want to get grant money to like help the fire department, even with payroll, they will do that. You need a CIP, and they would help with the EMS wages and stuff like that. So this thing is a big document that can save us and get us a lot of money into this community, where maybe we could cut our taxes in the areas that this makes the improvement to. So the sooner we get it, the sooner we can start filling out applications. It's getting late. It is 9:45, and I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. It's Rhonda.
Got a second by Rhonda. Vote. Christie. She already fell asleep.
Yes.
Rhonda.
Yes.
Christie. Christie.
She gets to vote twice?
I didn't hear it the first time.
Oh,
Christie.
yes. Yeah.
Gary.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
And Ken. I wish everyone a happy Independence Day. Meeting adjourned at 9:46.
Good night.
Christie, I'm going to be sending you something email shortly. It's going to be that 2 resolutions or motions.
Mommy tired, girl, you? Rosetta Park.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh,
Sorry, my stuff all of a sudden shut down on me for a second. So what's going on?
I just, I thought I closed out of everything, but then I still see this. Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, I'm trying.
Okay, and I
hear
see that
you.
Rosetta Park on there, so. Huh, I
Yeah.
don't know who that is.
That is
I think it's
Dale Bradford.
Dale, isn't it?
Oh. Why can't he
That's
just?
what it is. Seriously. That's where he lives.
I know.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fun.
Linda was on tonight too.
Okay.
We have Linda and Dale. That was, I was waiting for public comments to start blowing up.
I was waiting for Alan Bray, and he wasn't there.
Oh, I read those emails. That poor guy, I feel bad for him because of what had happened with my dog lately. But the reasonable officer, he showed up with a picture on computer, and I showed him my dog, and he agreed with me. It probably wasn't my dog that was on someone's property, because I keep her right with me.